Hey guys, it's my 40th birthday and I thought I'm just going to make a reflection video today to just talk about how I feel being 40 years old, as well as think to myself, what would I say to my 30-year-old self? Okay, because deep within, I don't feel like I'm 40. I kind of feel like I'm late 20s, maybe early 30s. In fact, I went and looked at my photo exactly 10 years ago today, and I don't look like I've changed at all. But I know that my life has changed vastly from when I was 30 years old to now when I'm 40 and I'm kind of in that kind of like uncle stage of life. In fact, one of my friends made me laugh recently. She sent me a text on my birthday and literally called me Uncle Ken. Can you just imagine? And she's exactly the same age as me, calling me Uncle Ken. The other thing that really stood out as well was our kids. They make birthday cards for us. I hope they don't mind me showing them. One of our sons, our son Joshua, made me this card, handmade from home. And what's interesting is he drew 40 small candles, and in brackets he wrote there 40 candles, and he said, "All the years you've been alive." And then he says, "A lot, right?" And that made me laugh a lot. But in the card, both of them say, "I'm very proud of you, Daddy. 40 years, that's a big achievement. I'm very proud." So love to the family, love to my boys, love to everybody who's wished me happy birthday. Love to my incredible wife who took me out to dinner. Love to my family, love to my parents, love to everyone who's posted a message on Instagram, on YouTube, on all our platforms, on our blog, everywhere really. It's been very heartwarming on a really personal level to get so many people on WhatsApp, like reaching out and just sharing like congratulations. It means a lot. So for today's video, I want to just answer your questions. You guys, I said to you guys, I'm making this video. It's going to be very casual, by the way. I'm not even editing anything. Literally going to just record it and post it. So I asked you, what are your questions? What would you like me to react to or just share my perspectives on? As somebody who is now being called Uncle Ken by some people, right? So I'm going to look at the questions here. But before I actually go into the questions, I wanted to just talk about how I feel being 40. And to be honest with you, and I'm making this video for myself so I can look back in years to come as well, my family can. To be honest, the two emotions I get when I think about being 40 is, the first is on one hand, I'm very, very, very happy to be here. I'm so excited. But on the other hand, there's a bit of sadness as well, and I'll tell you why. On the happy end, the two emotions I get are that I'm very fulfilled. I feel so fulfilled in my life, and I'm sharing this to hopefully encourage people on their journey as well. If you're on this journey, if you're in your 30s or your 20s, or even if you're in your 40s, I hope this video inspires you in some way. But I feel very fulfilled because someone asked me, they said to me, what would you like as a birthday present? And I thought about it for a really long time. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't want anything, actually. Because in my life, I looked around my life, I feel like I've got all the things I need. I've got family, I've got good health, I'm not, worried about my personal finances. I've got, I do work I love, I'm having impact in so many ways. I have clothing, I've got my own watch, I've got all the things I feel I need. So for me, to have that sense of, wow, I feel really fulfilled at the age of 40 is a pretty big deal. And I hope that some of the things I'll share today will help you and encourage you on your journey. The second emotion I feel outside of that feeling fulfilled is I feel a massive sense of gratitude. And that gratitude is because I'm here today. I'm actually here making this video, on my 40th, which is a pretty big deal because tied to the reason why I don't feel so excited, because it's been mixed feelings for me, is because I know there are people who didn't make it to their 40th. And some of you who've been watching our channel for some time will know that one of those people is my brother-in-law, who's also meant to be celebrating his 40th. So it's been a very, very difficult one, on one hand wanting to celebrate and have fun, but at the same time knowing that, there are people who haven't ever made it to 40. So, it still remains, I'm still dealing with that. I'm actually still struggling with that balance. But overall, I'm very, very thankful to be here celebrating 40. So let's jump in. I've got the questions from you guys here on Instagram stories, as well as in our communities tab on YouTube. I'll be looking at them here and answering them almost quick fire. Okay. So the first question I've got is from Vanessa. Vanessa can be a good friend of ours. Who's asked this question? Vanessa said, what one thing would you tell your 30-year-old self? Okay. Wow. There's so many things I would tell my 30-year-old self. But the first thing I'd say to my 30-year-old self is to encourage my 30-year-old self and say, it's going to be okay. You'll be fine. That would be the first thing. Because I think back to when I was 30 and I was starting out, and I'll reflect on my journey in a minute, like the 4 decades I've lived. Oh my God, 4 decades! Anyway, I'll go back to that. But when I was 30, I'd not long gotten married and I'd just become a dad. Okay, so we had our first son and life was really just kicking off. My career was just taking off. And there were a lot of uncertainties about the future. Mary and I were, beginning that journey of our financial independence. We'd started a couple of years before that. And there was a lot of uncertainty about the future. But one thing I'd tell my 30-year-old self is, look, it's going to be okay. There will be pandemics. There will be wars. There will be stock market crashes. There will be all these things that will happen. But provided you actually stick to a plan for your own life, forget like what anyone else is saying, forget your boss, forget like what anyone else around you is really saying. If you've got a plan that you believe in for your life and you actually stick to it, no matter the weather, no matter what's happening with the economy, and you stick to that plan, you keep chipping away at it gradually, you will be okay. Because that's literally what's happened in our lives. So that would be the one thing I would say. I'll tell somebody in my 30s, you'll be okay. Stacia Nambi has asked a question. Stacia said, similar question, if you could give only one piece of advice, what would that be? Now, I would add to it as another piece of advice would be, do things now. So one thing I've noticed that's really helped me on my journey and helped me to get to that place where like I feel like I've achieved, and I'm not saying this to like come across showy or anything, but I just feel like I've achieved as a 40-year-old this, like I can't think of anything on my like vision board that I've not done yet. Like they've all been ticked off, owning my own home and investments, becoming financially free and all these things, traveling the world. I've done all those things I had on my list. In fact, lately I was saying to myself, where do I want to go on holiday next year? And there was nowhere. I was like, I don't really know where I want to go because I've been to the countries that I really want to get to. But part of the reason why I've been able to do it is because I've developed this habit of doing things now. So, like for example, I don't, if you ask my family members, I'm one of the people who is known for acting now on stuff. Like if you want to make an investment, don't mess about, don't overthink. Obviously, analyze your numbers, but get on with it. Go and do it. If you want to buy a property, go ahead and do it. If you want a joint venture, go ahead and do it. If you want to apply and do a qualification, ask your employer, apply, pitch them, go ahead and do it. That's always been my attitude. It's always been like, go ahead and do stuff now. If you want to travel and you have the means, and I'll be coming to travel and passports and things in a minute because there's a question that relates to that, go ahead and do it now. So I found that idea of doing things now, because delaying, there's a cost to delaying in life. Think about it, like things get harder over time. Back in the day, you could get on the property ladder very easily. A lot of people procrastinated. They were just like, I'll wait to see if this recovers. I wait for that. And then things just get harder over time in every sense across life. So the one thing I'd say to you, Stacia, is do things now. Like literally act. And then that means you need to then think, well, actually, how do I allocate my resources such that I'm able to have a balance, such that I'm able to invest whilst also enjoy my life? And by the way, if you've not all pre-ordered our book, you should definitely make sure you go and do that. Our new book that's just come out, Financial Joy, because we're going into a ton of detail about that on it. Okay, I'll link to it below and above as well. Okay, but anyway, do things now is the advice. Right, next question is, what are the best ways, and this has come from Belle Joanna. Belle Joanna said, what are the best ways for couples to manage finances together and achieve goals? This is going to sound, I'll tell you one big regret I've seen with my parents is, one of the biggest regrets they have when it comes to finances and money is that they wish they did things together and, let me rephrase, they wish they came together more because they would have achieved so much more together if they did that. And so one thing that's helped Mary and I is we combined all our finances, combined all our money, everything we had combined. What's yours is mine, what's mine is yours. Literally that. Simplicity. And that's helped us so much, because when you combine that and then you have transparency, you have communication, you have a vision. Yeah, when you have those three core pillars, you will achieve so much more, because you've got unity, and unity creates opportunity, unity creates wealth, unity creates progress, and so on. So that would be the best thing I'd say for couples is bring your lives together. Like, if you're committed, obviously, not all couples are committed, but if you're in a committed relationship, for example, you're married and stuff like that, try to combine your finances and really, really focus on building the vision for us. Let it be an us vision rather than just a me vision. But I know, obviously, this advice won't apply to everybody, but that's my answer to that question. Next one says, what did you regret in life? And this has come from Vuana. I try to operate through my life without regrets. But one thing I'd say for sure is that if I had to pick a regret, I'd probably say it's the regret of taking so much BS from bosses at work. Like, sticking around in jobs that at the moment, like, I look at my life at the minute, I've had a 14-year traditional career. Like, I'm retired from my traditional career. I'm an accountant. I pay my fees as a member. Like, I've got my letters. I've got all those qualifications, right? But I don't operate as an accountant. Like, I just have fun. I just do whatever I want. I just do what I want. Running my own life, running my own business, right? But one thing I regret is taking so much rubbish from people who, would down the line not be significant in my life at all, who caused me so much emotional trauma and turmoil, but over time are just a stat in my life. I look back at my life, I'm like, oh yeah, once in a while I knew this person. I might see their name pop up on LinkedIn. It's become very insignificant to my current future direction. So, you might be facing something at work at the minute. And I'd say to you, and this is why I would encourage my 30-year-old self and say, look, don't dwell too much on what he said and what she said. And these people are temporary for the vision that God has almost laid out for your life ahead. So that's one thing I regret, is actually spending too much time, in jobs that, I should have moved on from some jobs a lot earlier, and moved on from the toxic characters that existed in those environments as well. So that's one thing. All right, next question is, if you was to have dual citizenship, which country would you choose? When I saw this question, I said, I'm going to bring some props. Okay, so I've currently got dual citizenship, and I wanted to talk about this. So obviously, first is my Nigerian passport. In fact, this has just shown up. I applied months ago. It finally showed up in the post. It's my 10-year Nigerian passport, and this is my, obviously, British passport. Now, I say that casually because, but I want to just acknowledge that these present a lot of privileges, a lot more than I can even talk about. But the reason I'm talking about this very personally is because it's taken me many, many, many years to get to this point. And I'll give you the answer to your question in a minute. But I want to just take a moment to encourage people who are on the journey of maybe acquiring some residency. I know for a lot of people, to give you, for real, it took tens of thousands of pounds minimum to get to a place, and years of me holding onto this thing in my hands, and with the freedoms that come with it. Yeah. And I know many people are on that journey at the minute, so I just want to encourage you, if you're on that journey. I know it can feel very lonely, you don't know who to speak to. In fact, if you're struggling with residency, you're trying to figure out your situation whilst also navigating money, DM me. Come on Instagram. I will not charge you even a penny for my time. I will speak to you, chat to you at least on the DMs, and let's chat, and I'll try to encourage you. Because I've been there, right? Anyway, back to the question. Question was, which country would I have their dual citizenship? And the country, Mary and I were talking about this, I would say, I went to Dubai recently, and whilst I was there, I was in a taxi, and I was speaking to the guy driving the taxi, and he was telling me about these Emiratis and their lives, and how when you're 18, I think, you get the equivalent of about £2,000 or £2,500 a month as an Emirati, as a citizen of the United Arab Emirates. And you get given a house once you become an adult. I think once you get married, and basically they get looked after. And I thought, whoa, wow. And obviously by doing that, these citizens will always vote for that government because they want them to stay. So I thought that was phenomenal. I thought, wow, isn't that so interesting as an approach to looking after your citizens? I thought, wow. So these people don't lack. They've got a home. They're not paying for a mortgage. They've got money to pay for food. They've got time. They've got time freedom. There's stuff that people are looking for. And I thought, wow, isn't that interesting? So anyway, that will be one option if I could choose. I may consider that, but I don't obviously regret having my Niger passport, because that gets me into West Africa. I love it. Get into Ghana, get into Nigeria, get into all those parts of the world. And obviously with this one, get into other parts of the world. This question was a bit random. It says here, leasehold or freehold? Freehold. Any day. Any day. I personally hate leaseholds. And no offense to anyone who's got a leasehold, but I just I don't want to go anywhere near them. Just because I just don't like the wahalas, the problems, the issues you get with them. So for me, if you can stretch, get yourself the freehold. Next question was, are you going to increase the amount of contributions to retirement now that you are 40? The answer is no. I'm just going to have more fun. Now, I'm going to pause for a minute and give you some context. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm still saving and investing. They're all happening. It's all automated. I don't think about it. But what I will do more of is just have more fun. In my 40s, I don't want to, actually, I'll give you a quick decade by decade in a minute. But in my 30s, I was just grinding. 30s was just boom, 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 boom. I achieved, if I made you a list of achievements, you'll be stunned. I achieved so much in my 30s. And that's because I worked so hard. I might not look it from here. You might think, oh, I just shop on YouTube and make these videos. No, I worked very, very hard. Very hard, right? So, but for my 40s, my focus is on my well-being. Even more so. I want to enjoy the fruit of my labor. Yeah. So it's all about enjoyment for me in my 40s. I want to travel. I want to go. At the moment, I've got 3 companion vouchers. I'm thinking about booking my travels for next year. Just stuff like that. I want to have fun with friends, family. Obviously, I'm making investments. I don't think too much about those things. They just happen in the background. But yeah, for me, it's priorities, well-being, and fun in my 40s. But let me actually talk about the 10 years thing, because I think it's good to give people some context, particularly for people who don't know who I am, who maybe you've just come across this channel and that kind of thing. So I'm 40, as I've mentioned. First 10 years of my life, first decade, I lived in Nigeria. And I think back to, there's certain memories I have that just come back for me. So I grew up in the eastern part, so in Imo State, down there at the bottom there, in Nigeria, as well as in Lagos. So back and forth, very nomadic. My family moved around. But a lot of things I remember are things like no devices, going to just playing in the sand, playing games, going to jumping in the river and stuff, going to fetch water, playing football on the street bare feet, because who wore football boots? I mean, that's just who does that? But that's what you do here in the West, right? That all those things, that's my first decade of life, 10 years, trying to almost just do what kids did, if you live in Africa, right? For me, being Nigeria, right? And then the next decade, from 10 to 20, was a very unique decade because life changed a lot. I would immigrate to the UK. Immigrate. I always get them wrong. Anyway, I'd moved to the UK, and I'd do that at the age of 14. But at the same time, a lot will happen in that year, because obviously you moved to a new country, you're starting all afresh, you left all your old friends behind, and you're trying to form some new social, like a new social circle. And of course, as someone who moves into a new country at year 11, I can't really do that because, like, you know, no one cares about you when you're in year 11 and you're just starting afresh and you've got a strong Nigerian accent. So that decade was difficult for me, you know, being pushed around, you know, by just people who just see you as an easy target and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, I then would start university, I'd get into uni via clearing. Yay, big up clearing. I'd go into uni at clearing. You know, I'm daring to try and fit into the UK. I'm trying to understand this system, trying to work out like how things work in this country. Where's the opportunity? How can I make some money? Struggling with my residency problems. Like, just many things in this decade. Dating, you know, trying to like figure out like how can I get someone to like date, you know, go out with me. All this stuff. You know, trying to like fit in, basically. 10 to 20, that was a decade. And then going to university, at uni, just focused entirely, didn't party, didn't go into any bar, any of those bars, any of those OCS, or ACS, anyway, all those things that they had, communities, blah, blah, just focused and aced it. Got my first class degree, that was it. Passed my driving test, 17, first time, that was it, right? And that would then usher me into my, almost like this new next phase of my life, which is 20 to 30, right? 20 to 30 was very interesting because my career was really then taking off, and I would experience big changes. I'd suddenly be making a lot more money and then suddenly start living paycheck to paycheck because I'm trying to appear successful and look like I've got money and all these things. And I'd be caught in this like web of like earning and getting into debt. A lot of that happened in my 20s. But in my 20s, I'd also have another life-changing moment, which is that I met my incredible wife, Mary. And that was in 2009. And we'll begin this journey together, united by mindset, united by a vision that we had for our personal lives. And then we're like, wow, we have a lot in common. United by, obviously, many more things. And the fact that she was single, and I was single, you know, all those things. And we'd start a life together, start dating, and then get married. So I'd get married. I think I got married in 2011. Yeah, so 26, I think. Can't remember now. But I would then go on in my 20s, obviously building my career, I'd do qualifications, do an MBA, do all these things, do chartered accountancy, all these qualifications, like to just go elevate, to try and get me to the top of the tree that's available to me on my career journey. And my income would double. It's doubling every like 3 years. And lots was happening in my 20s. I was grinding, right? I became a dad, you know, 2013, Joshua was born, 2014, Elias was born. A lot was happening. That's now my 30s. I'm starting 30 now. From 30 to 40, this became like the most game-changing decade of my life. Like, every vision I had for my life happened in my 30s. Like, everything. Like, you know, wanting to run businesses, create, like, just career progression, becoming financially free, owning property, you know, like, all the things I wanted happened between 30 and 40, winning, like, things I didn't even expect would happen, winning multiple awards, becoming an author, like, just all these things would happen between 30 and 40. But the point of me giving you that narration is to encourage you to say that your life will get progressively better over time. Notice that I've experienced the global financial crisis. I've been through like all that, because I'm one of the older millennials. I've been through all those things that people have gone through. But I've come through all of them with Mary, better off, yeah? Which leads me to one of the points that I want to make sure I've made in this video on the importance of taking calculated risks. It's one of the things that's helped me a lot on my journey. Is no matter the weather, even if there's a recession, even if there's like things are falling apart, there's always an opportunity. There's always something. There's always a way for you to go against the grain. So a lot of my journey has been going against the grain. Even like choosing to leave my career during a pandemic. Who does that? Who decides to leave their 14-year career during a pandemic? Yeah, there's so many things like that where on your journey of creating the life you want, you need to trust you need to back yourself and really believe that you've got what it takes to create that future that you want for yourself. And for me, taking calculated risks and really trying to bring that intangible vision we had for our lives into a physical world has been key in helping to kind of just move us along. Yeah. Just looking at more questions here. Which savings account and stocks and shares ISAs providers are good? That was a bit of a random question, but do you know what? I don't know, man. Like, there's so many good platforms. I'll tell you what I use. I use Vanguard. I use Hargreaves Lansdown. We've got a Pension B account. And we're looking to open other accounts as well, down the line. But there are many others. There are many providers, Interactive Investor, there are many really decent platforms. And if you've not seen the video on platforms, I'll link to it below and above, where we provide you with a format for how to choose which investing account is best for you. Now, shifting gears to the questions on YouTube, because I thought the questions you guys asked were actually really, really interesting. Someone said, George Hayes said, happy belated birthday. What would you do differently if you could turn back time to 20 years? So if I could go back 20 years, and I'd be 20, so that would be 2003. I'd do everything possible to own property. That's the first thing. As well as everything possible to invest in the stock market. Because I properly started investing in the stock market in 2010, thereabouts. So if I could go back, I'd go even further back and start to invest. So if someone had shown me here's this blueprint, entrepreneurship, property investing, stock market investing, those three pillars alone will your future will be sorted. If you'd started back then to take some risks. So that's definitely one thing I would have done. Next question is, what's the worst advice you have most commonly been told? What's the worst advice? I'd probably say it's probably career related. I mean, this is obvious to everybody, but one thing that's is worth spelling out is that your career will never carry on going up on a straight line. That's the one thing I've come to realize in my life. And in fact, I see a future of portfolio careers where you might do one career for a decade. That'll be it. You're I'm done. You move on and you start a whole different career for maybe another 5 to 10 years. That's your career. You do it, you move on, you do another one, right? So you have these cycles of careers where you're doing various things, or you might have a collection of different portfolios, different jobs or businesses or consultancies or whatever you're doing over time. So I'd say, some of the worst advice I've received have been expecting that you'd be in one career for the rest of your life. Some people do that, but yeah, the vast majority of people would not be doing that because that's just not how life is anymore. What's the one thing you wish you had learned sooner? That's the next question. I'd probably say the one thing I wish I'd learned sooner is, I guess I know this, but it's just the importance of, three core pillars. Those three core pillars are health, wealth, and relationships. Health, wealth, and relationships. And it's easy to over-prioritize the wealth bit. And that becomes your one focus. But one thing I wish I had much earlier as an epiphany is that your health actually ranks at the top. And by health, I mean your physical health and your spiritual health. Very important. Obviously, not everybody believes in God or, or a higher being or whatever, right? I do. I believe in God. So for me, I think coming to that realization or coming to see like what's most important in my life has helped me prioritize a bit better as I've tried to build wealth and so on over time. Yeah, so that will be the answer to that. Make sure you are prioritizing right in your life and put your health to be right at the top, physical and spiritual. Your relationships are very important. Relationship capital is absolutely key. And then after that, I'd put wealth as the third one. But, don't overlook wealth. Another question came from David. There's so many questions. Next one is, we only live once. So my question for you is, what is the one thing you would like to try for the first time? For example, food, experiences, or new hobby in your 40s. I like that. Wow. So for me, I'd say the one thing I want to do is I want to climb a mountain. Like I want to climb like Kilimanjaro or like something like that. I want to do something, a bit extreme like that. Second is skiing. I've never skied. I look at all of you who do it from afar. I'm like, wow, it looks very pretty. It looks awesome. But yeah, I haven't done it yet. Yeah. So for me, that would be another. A third would be, I'd love to, Mary and I've got this vision of traveling across Africa. We've started doing it already, been to quite a few countries, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Morocco, Egypt, and so on, right? But we'd like to do even more of that. And the other is traveling across Asia. Like I've been to 2 Asian countries, I think maybe only 2. Indonesia, Malaysia, but I'd like to do more of that. Yeah. Oh, and then, let me see, food. And that's the other thing. I'd love to be able to just swim, like open sea. That for me, like when I see people swimming, I'm like on holiday. I'm like I look at the ocean and I see people, out at sea, swimming. And I'm like, wow. Do you know how much I envy those people? I'm like, wow. Do you know how free and how beautiful that feels? That must feel to be able to do that. I can't do that. I'm not a confident swimmer. So for me, they're small things, but they're actually like things that I'm like, wow, one day I want to be able to swim at sea, like be out there and like, and then that means I could do like snorkeling and, like all like water sports. Like when I go on holiday, I can't do those water sports because, I've got a fear. Like I'm like, I can't swim that well yet. So yeah. And then I'll answer this last question. Actually, there's so many, but I'll answer 1 or 2 more. This next one is, what would you have done differently, opportunity-wise? What opportunities did you not pursue that you regret? Do you know what? Back to 2008, 2009. When like they were doing like 100% mortgages and da-da-da-da-da. I wish I had foresight. I would have taken more of those. And actually because I know what I'm doing, I understand how investments work. So I could have, with foresight, given what I know today, I could have, I wish I basically took up more of those opportunities. When I started out, when I had a flat and stuff, I put down a small deposit. I got, quite a large, it was like a large loan to value. That's it, a large loan to value to start out. So I kind of did take advantage of it, but I wish I did take advantage of it even more so. It's not a regret. It's like one of those things. Like, I guess the way I look at life is if you couldn't do it today, if you couldn't do it yesterday, do it today. It's no point crying over what you couldn't do. So it's just like, whatever. Like do it next time, right? All right, final one is I look at this. This came from Sweetie8387. She says, others have said it, but yeah, what would you have done differently? I turned 40 in August. Happy birthday, happy belated. And I found it a bit unnerving, she says. I've got kids and house etc, but retirement is a long way off for me at 55. Yeah, it feels a bit like no man's land. Does it feel the same for you? Wow, that's such a good question. It feels a bit like no man's land. Does it feel the same for you? So I guess this is a good question to wrap up on. I don't really, so the way I look at life is, I believe very strongly in, like, I don't see myself, retiring in a traditional sense. Like, getting to a date, I'm like, oh, wow, like my mum called me. She's like, oh, apply for my state pension for me. And I applied. And it's like, yeah, mum, you're not getting your state pension. It's like, she's got to a retirement date. And that was it, retirement. I'm already retired, like right now. Like traditionally, like, all right, let me rephrase that, because that's not quite right. I've retired from my traditional career. That's a better way to say it. But I'm now doing work I enjoy doing, because I've over time worked on becoming financially independent and trying to remove my worry from like worrying about money and all these things. Like I've done a lot of work since 2009 to get to where I am today in this year. Yeah. So my point is, I prefer to get a taste of retirement now. Yeah. I'm not like, the idea of traditional retirement for me, and take no offense to anybody, is just dead. Like, I have zero interest in that. What I'm interested in is mini retirements. That's why we take August off every year to just like, it's like a, like a mini retirement. Like, travel, have fun, just break away from everything. And we've extended that from like 1 month to 3 months in a year. So at different times of the year, we're off, just like doing stuff. And I want to just keep that up. So for me, I want cycles of retirement, like mini retirement and so on. Yeah, I don't really ever see myself like not working in the traditional sense, because I like working. Like, I actually enjoy it. Like, this is what I'm doing right now is my work. Like, whether I'm volunteering, that's work. Whether I'm on a board for a charity, that's work. Whether I'm just like speaking somewhere, speaking gig, that's work. Like, all these things are work. So for me, it's about, what is the work you want to do? And how do you design a life that works for you? We call it a life of financial joy, which is why we wrote the book. That's what it's about for me. It's like, how do you balance that goal for financial freedom and that desire and that pursuit for financial freedom with the desire and the need, the absolute need? Because financial freedom is what you want, but the joy is what you need. You need the joy. How do you bring those two together? So for me, rather than kind of see retirement as kind of like no man's land, I'm more like, how do I enjoy my life of financial joy today? And how do I keep enjoying that life of financial joy tomorrow, next year, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, such that I never ever have regrets? This is the big epiphany that I've had on my journey, which is, don't wait till like when you're 65 or whatever, or 55 or whatever, to feel like, hey, yay, I've retired. Although obviously feel free to do that if you want to. But for me, it's all about, putting joy at the center of my finances today and enjoying my life such that every single day I wake up, I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, man, like, I'm having fun. I'm doing impactful work. Yes, I'm working hard doing various things. I'm doing my projects, like, writing a book was like insane amounts of work. All those things, yes, I'm doing them. But parallel to them, I have like phenomenal things going on. Whether it's I'm traveling, whether it's I'm going for a massage, whether it's I'm going to a sauna, whether it's like I'm going to a theatre or a concert. There are all these things that have been curated to make that life really enjoyable. Yeah. So I don't know if that helps you, but I really hope it does, because I guess what I'm trying to say is enjoy your life whilst you've got it. Like, if I had to end this video on one thing, yeah, it's this: enjoy your life whilst you've got it. Yeah, because whilst you're feeling like you're it feels like a bit of no man's land, and there's that bit of anxiety maybe, around the future, remember that not everybody got to today. Yeah, so whilst you're here, make sure you're enjoying yourself. Make sure you're enjoying your life and doing everything you can to live that life of no regrets. Okay? Guys, this video has been longer than I anticipated, but like I said to you, hey, it's not a usual YouTube video. This is just me recording what I think, having a reflection at this really, really important milestone in my life. And I want to just thank everybody, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, I'm really grateful that you stopped by to watch this video, or that you're a part of our community, or that you like our videos, or you share it, or you comment, or like you're cheering us from from wherever. I just want to say thank you for that, because like without the love, without the like you stopping by to comment, without all those things, those interactions, we wouldn't have a genuine community. We wouldn't have people who are a part of this journey with us. So a massive thank you on behalf of Mary and I on this journey. And I hope to be able to celebrate with you as well, as you've joined me in celebrating my 40th. I hope I can one day cross paths with you in person. We can have a hug, have a drink, have a meal, chill out, and I can celebrate you and your milestones as well. But other than that, if you really enjoyed today's video, hey, do what we usually say. Please subscribe, please like the video, share it with anybody else who you think it might offer some insights and some inspiration. And I hope it's really helped you move forward today. Okay? Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And as always, in all things, be thankful and seek joy. Take care. Bye for now.